All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hornets Live, presented by American Pie Pizza. I say thanks to everyone here and everyone watching live on the Natural State Sports Network. And we're going to be right here at American Pie Pizza every week of the regular season talking with Hornet coaches and players. And this is, week 3, right? Yeah, week 3 already. It's going by quick. So I want to remind you guys that are here and that you're on your way. American Pie Pizza specials. Remember, every Tuesday night here at American Pie Pizza is $2 Tuesdays. Get $2 off a 14-inch pizza. And so get over here to 9709 Maumelle Boulevard and join us for Hornets Live and $2 Tuesdays. All right, so I'm here with Coach Horton tonight. And, Coach, 1-1, tough one. Not the results we were hoping for with a Week 1 tough loss to the good Joe T. Robinson team.
Yeah, I mean, Joe T's a good team. We knew that going in, but, we come out of the third quarter up by 20. You expect to win the game. I thought we executed very well first, second, and third quarter. We're in a position to win the game.
Yeah, it was a fun 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter kind of got away, and things kind of changed. Mo reared its ugly head and jumped onto the Robinson side. So we'll get into some of how we got to where we got. But 1-1, I think you guys knew you were going to be in for a fight there in that game, even though that's a team that's a little inexperienced, but it's still a good ball club, and picked to win the 7-4-8.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Coach Scola does a good job with those guys. We kind of knew exactly what we're going against. We felt good about it, and heck, we looked good against it the first 3 quarters. And I think I'd rather it happen Week 1 than in conference, but I think there were some lessons to be learned with how to close a game and collectively as a team, not ever letting our guard down.
So we'll get into the highlights from this one because regardless of how the game ended, there was some excitement in it. And you guys, a lot of points, obviously, 44 points in the game. So we open the game offensively with a 3-and-out, but the defense gets its 8th consecutive series stop going back to the Sylvan Hills game, holding the Senators on a 4th down attempt. And then we went straight from bat to Pierce to Watts. And that big touchdown that started things off. That's been a magical connection between Weston Pierce and Roderick Watts as it struck again to get things started. Yeah,
they're really, joined at the hip. And Weston's got a lot of confidence in Roderick, and Roderick's got a lot of confidence in Weston. And we've got a good supporting cast now, so it's not like you can hone in on just one matchup. I feel like we're pretty balanced.
Yeah, we got to see a lot of that in this game, as you and I were talking ahead of time, that got Rodgers kind of going there early, getting the first touch. And we'll get into some of the other. Specht had a pretty good game out there as well. Your running backs did okay coming out of the backfield, catching some passes. So things seemed to work out. The defense then gets its 9th consecutive stop of the season, forcing another punt by Robinson. It was a good punt that pinned us deep in our own territory. And the first mistake of the night came there with 3 plays later, the pick 6 by Julian Campos. And talk about that a little bit. It seemed like a ball maybe Weston should have put a little more air under to get it out to the running back.
I think it's just a timing thing. He got some unexpected pressure in the A gap, and he panicked a little bit. But that's it's part of it. This is his second start. I really think he's handled the workload really well. He's been a rock for us as a leader. He owns his mistakes, and he adjusted well from it. We called the same play later in the game, and his timing was better, and it was a big play.
Yeah. So we answered quickly after that. I'm going to call it an interesting intentional grounding call that if you were watching the broadcast, I think I may have made my point on. But Pierce did a great job maneuvering in the pocket before finding Roderick Watts yet again on this 73-yard touchdown pass.
Well, that's one of my favorite plays to call. We don't do it 10 times a game or anything like that, but every time we call, we feel like it's got a chance to be magical. It doesn't matter where we're at on the field. Doesn't matter if we're on our own 10, the 50-yard line. Doesn't matter. We feel like we can score with that play.
Well, it doesn't get much better. We'll talk to Weston here in just a little bit, of course, about that play. But talk about how impressive it is. Obviously, you and I talked a little bit ahead of time. It just the accuracy of Weston Pierce so far this year early on.
Well, I always knew he could throw. The biggest thing that I've been happy about is his ability to move within the pocket and create more time, keeping his eyes downfield. That's been what's been impressive of late. And he had a real good night Friday because he was able to continue on some plays and make more out of it than initially was put in front of him.
Well, and I think that was one of the more impressive plays. You talk about his footwork and his ability to maneuver in the pocket. The play before that, when we did get called for the intentional grounding, he actually did a very good job of moving around, getting himself outside, and actually threw an okay throw, but he was well out of the pocket, obviously. So tough situation there, a tough call. But, yeah, I mean, his ability to maneuver the pocket, move the pocket around just seems to be a big asset for this offense.
Well, in high school ball, they don't care so much if you get outside the pocket. There has to be a receiver in the area. And one of the things I wanted to harp on with our receivers is when something like that happens, run to the ball anyway. Even if it wasn't close to you, run to the ball, and then it doesn't look like it's to no one, And so, him creating more time like that, we got to get a receiver over there in the area. We got to run and continue on the play.
So the defense continued its hot play after that. There's Jesse Knight forced a fumble. James Whitley gets his first fumble recovery, the first turnover of the game, and that gave the defense 10 straight stops. How impressive was it just watching this defense really in that first half for sure?
Well, the thing I like about our defense is we hit people hard. I mean, every time there's a tackle opportunity, we're trying to knock the ball loose, knock them loose, and when our defense is right, it's a turnover waiting to happen just based off of their aggressiveness and their ability to get to the ball.
So after a 3-and-out by the offense, the first score against your defense in 10 tries, we finally got to see just how talented senior Jalen Waits can be, as he accounted for 42 rushing yards and 19 receiving yards. I think that reception was actually the play we were talking about, where you went back to the little out there to Waits on that one. A 19-yard catch there, got us in place for a third score of the night and giving us a lead back at 21-14.
Well, I probably am a little bit more comfortable calling defense, I'm calling offense this year, but I like to self-scout myself and break tendencies. So we got in a run formation on that call, and we threw our snag concept into back out of the backfield on that, and Weston really sold the snag concept, and it allowed Jalen to get wide open. He got all the way down to the 1 on that. I thought for sure he was going to score, but it was a huge play for us. Just breaking some tendencies and throwing out of a running formation.
Yeah, Jalen kind of got the short end of the stick a couple times, got us all the way down there right at the goal line, and then we're able to either go with the QB1. I like to call it the QB1 sneak there, as we like to run that a few times, or Crawford got him a touch and got in. But Waits finishes this game with these are the stats I have. If we're wrong, we'll blame Jim Ashley. But 14 carries, 146 yards, plus the catch for 19. Talk about the impact he had on this team, a little smaller guy versus what you have out there at other times.
Waits is a huge shot in the arm for us. He's going to be out this week. He got a concussion this week, but he's a Swiss Army knife. I mean, we could line him up and play him at slot. He runs some of the best routes we do. He's a dynamic player, and a lot of times when we run our counter, our inside run game, he looks like he's shot out of a cannon. I mean, it may be a small crease, and he's small, and we've got a huge offensive line, and so sometimes he's hard to find. But when you find him, sometimes he's already gone. So I mean, I know his ability, and I hope he gets healthy quick, because he's a big player for us.
I think we said it several times, Andy and I, on the broadcast. Like you said, it's kind of incredible to watch him just be able to squeeze through some of those holes. He disappears, and next thing you know, he's 5 yards downfield popping out. So a lot of fun to watch. So before we get on, I got to move my computer here. We are loaded up with food up here. So you guys make sure you get up here to American Pie Pizza. I know we've got some breadsticks over here, and it all smells really good. A supreme pizza, cheese dip, which I've already had a spicy chicken cheese dip since I've been here. So I think these shows every week I'm going to gain about 20 pounds before we're all said and done. But I want to say thanks again to the folks here, all the great staff here at American Pie Pizza for having us every Tuesday night. A little different spot here tonight, so a little more cozy and comfy. And but yeah, so we will end the first half on interception by Maxwell Pace on a Robinson Hail Mary attempt, leading 21-14. What was the message to the team at the half?
Well, we felt pretty good at halftime. I mean, last week against Sylvan Hills, we were down a touchdown, and so it was a little bit different feel there. I felt like the kids approached the game the right way. Obviously we made a mistake or two the first half, but I felt pretty good about it. I felt like it was, we were starting to win our matchups. We were starting to attack the things that we worked on all week, and both offensively and defensively, we felt pretty good about things.
So we open the second half, and for the second consecutive week, Jesse Knight gets a scoop and score. Wait, these notes were supposed to be taken out, Will. This play didn't count. I don't know why this play didn't count. And it's going over there behind you, Coach. You may not even want to watch it again. But I am still a little confused as to how that ball got marked as a Robinson ball. And I won't let you say too much because I'll take the heat from the AAA.
It was what you'd call an inadvertent whistle, I would say, because I'm pretty sure the white hat would like to have that one back. It would have been a big play for us at the time. These things happen. We don't blame officials. We don't harp on these things. So we moved on from it and we were okay.
Well, and I think that's part of that adversity piece that you've talked about with this team all year. We've talked about it at the show. We've talked about this several times this year. This team has seen adversity since the beginning of fall camp. And so something like this, you hope that your team responds, and they did. Obviously, they did respond. You hold Robinson to the 3 and out. They don't get anything. They punt. And it was definitely a tough break in a game that ended so closely. But the defense stood tight after that, held Robinson to the punt, like I said, and then QB1 dropped this dime to Hunter Speck that we're going to see up here on this replay. Now, you and I had an opportunity to talk about this play a little bit before and just talking about the impact that Hunter Speck brings to this team as well at wide receiver.
Well, absolutely. He's not unappreciated. I mean, he's a good route runner. Very consistent player for us. He runs his routes well. He's where he's supposed to be. He's dependable. You throw him a good ball, he'll catch it. And it's a good compliment having him and Roderick on the same side there. Roderick comes out of his break, and, of course, Roderick's going to demand attention, so he gets double coverage there, and that leaves Hunter an opportunity to catch a big play.
So we talked a little bit about Weston earlier, but he's having a great season so far. 10 of 22, is that correct? Does that sound right as far as his completion?
Yeah, it may have been 12 of 22, but I mean it's a pretty good day at the office, especially for some of the downfield throws that he completed.
Yeah, 273 yards. He had 3 touchdown passes and then 2 more on the ground. So impressive performance from Weston. We've talked about that. But so after this, the defense continues to play well as James Whitley had a pretty impressive interception. I don't know what it is about bobbled plays that turn into great catches, but we've had one each week. Tip pass off the receiver that Whitley intercepts. Talk about your linebacker play.
They're kind of unspoken heroes. I mean, they're not 6'5", 275. They don't have the measurables like you will, but as far as effort goes and where they're supposed to be and really, they hit guys hard. And, I have a nickname for James. I don't want to say on the air, but it goes back to his freshman year. He kind of goes to another place when he plays, and, he really plays the game hard and really plays it right.
They're a lot of fun. You said it right, unsung heroes, because I know even in fall camp and talking, the guys that I think everybody always asks about is, of course, your defensive line and some of those guys on the back end. But I've been impressed every week by Whitley and McGarrett and everything they bring to that linebacker corps.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a blue-collar crew. They show up every day to practice, and they work hard. And they're really leaders in the locker room, too, just, doing what they're supposed to do, And James especially, he's not afraid to tell you, if somebody's not doing right, he has no problem telling anybody that they're not doing right and they need to get back in where they need to be.
So after Maurice Mosby recovers a fumble on a bad pitch, that set us up with great field position. Pierce finds Watts for the 3rd time, just 3 catches, 3 touchdowns, no big deal for Roderick. And we talk a little bit more about that defense. At this point, I mean, we got to be feeling pretty good, up 3 scores late in this one, and just talk about, again, just how impressed you were with how well the defense had been playing to this point.
Well, like I said, they play violently. They hit people hard every time there's a collision. We feel like there's a fumble opportunity waiting to happen. We force turnovers. I mean, it goes back to last year. I mean, last year was a very impressive campaign with how many turnovers we forced, and, these lead to opportunities, and so, of course, I wasn't afraid to take a shot on offense because, hey, we just got another opportunity from these guys. Let's make it count.
So we opened the 4th quarter with a 14-point lead. Robinson was able to score there towards the end of the end of the 3rd, beginning of the 4th, but feeling good at this point. Jalen Wade strikes again a huge 55-yard run, and it almost felt like a dagger as Crawford was able to finish things off from 3 yards out. We're up 41-21.
Well, where we felt right then was really good. I mean, we felt like we could move the ball pretty well. Defense had played really well up to that point. I'm waiting for our next drive. I want to put some more points on the board. It seemed like a good night to do that. And, somewhere between then and the end of the game, things changed a little bit.
Well, and at that point, it was kind of, I think, Wright had a few issues at quarterback for Robinson. He turned the ball over a few times, and they went to who their starter was in week 0 against, or week 1 against PA. And so it was interesting to see as Cleveland came out. It opened up their passing attack a little bit. Our offense seemed to sputter at times. What do you think the difference was? Was it just the passing game and that difference, or what do you think?
Well, I had a chance to talk to Coach Escola today because we were moving our stuff out of Robinson. We're not practicing there anymore.
Yay!
Our field will be done later this week. We really anticipate being back on the field, maybe even as early as Thursday for walkthrough.
Great news. That's great news.
That is great news. But, Coach Escola told me that a Cleveland kid graded out at 98%.
Wow.
That's the best he's ever had a quarterback grade out. So,
wow.
I put it in the words of our defensive backs coach, Coach Melder. He said, we knocked out their starting quarterback, and their number 2 came in looking like Tom Brady.
And he did. He did, unfortunately. Now, part of that, I think we had maybe some missed assignments at times, maybe some tough calls here or there. They definitely had some guys opened, it seemed like. But regardless of all that, we had a couple of chances still late to put this game away. A drop pass on 3rd down, had an opportunity to recover a muff punt there right after that play. That had to have been tough on the psyche of this team.
Well, some of the defensive woes that happened in the 4th were due to personnel. We had 2 major injuries on defense at that point, and we really didn't do a great job in coverage or getting pressure on the quarterback, and that's a big deal, when you're trying to close out a game. But, we're not going to let the defense take credit for the whole thing. I mean, offensively, we had a chance to shut the game down too. If we score again or we're able to milk the clock in a 4-minute offense, we control our own destiny with that too. We had a fumble down the stretch. We're moving the ball well. We would have been a 3rd and 1. We fumble, in good field position where we had a chance to run down a lot more clock. And, then again, that 3rd down drop too. But, not one of these plays cost us a game. It was a collective effort. We've got to close better than that. The game's not ever over till it's over. And we just didn't close it out well.
Yeah, I mean, talking about closing it out, so you had a blocked extra point early in the game, and then this team still showed a ton of resiliency and ability to fight through this adversity, even after the 92-yard drive to tie it. You guys come out and make a huge play, as we see the highlight here of the block on the extra point that got this thing to overtime. You had to be proud of your guys for continuing to fight even at that point.
Well, we actually were going to bring pressure from our right side and their left, and then we switched it last minute because they were a guy down on that side. So it was a really good job of guys being coachable and able to switch on command right there and making a play. That really was a big deal, because, there wasn't much time left, and it would have been real hard to manufacture a drive at that point.
So I'm going to get into the coach's mind here, the offensive coordinator's mind here. So we get into overtime, and really the only question I have is, what went through the decision to bring Nico in as your Wildcat quarterback there?
Well, it was popular. We felt really good about it just based on the push we were getting from our offensive line. The first play we got a chunk, and the second play really was there. We didn't execute it very well. We ran outside the kick-out block. It was supposed to hit a little bit closer inside. But even that being said, we felt confident about taking a shot on 3rd down, and when we didn't get it, we had to put points on the board. Having the ball first, you can't go blank there because they can just kick a field goal and win. So, we executed field goal at that point. In hindsight, we might have isolated Rod and gone with the fade ball again. But, that's things you're going to second guess from overtime. We felt good about the Nico package, and especially with our offensive line getting a push, and it just didn't work out, Collectively, though, we wish that wouldn't have been that situation. Wish we'd have closed the 4th quarter better.
Well, in the Nico, that package has worked. I know you guys used it some last year as well, and it's been a package that seemed to get things done. So not overly surprised. You're in essence, a goal line situation starting from the 10-yard line. So not overly surprised there. And then maybe a little more adversity with the picked up pass interference call there after that forced us to have to bring Brooke Hagan in and kick the field goal. But, Brooke Hagan came in and made another big kick on the year. I think that probably gives you some confidence in your special teams, too, as we get into conference play here in a few weeks.
Well, in 5 years as head coach at Maumelle, I've never felt more confident about our kicking unit. Brookhagen stepped up back-to-back weeks, but he did last year too. I mean, it's we've always been decent at extra point. That seems pretty easy, but live field goals are tough in high school. It's a different animal because they're coming after it, and if you don't execute right, it could end up being a scoop and score for the other team. And so I've been real proud of that unit. Coming through in some big situations. Last week putting us ahead against Sylvan Hills, and then this week again putting us ahead in overtime.
So we know what happens on the next play. Obviously, Cleveland finds right. That becomes the determining score. We fall, go to 1-1. But again, we gotta take a lot of the bright spots out of this. Obviously, we're early in the season still. This is a time where you're building really for conference season.
Sure.
So I mean, a loss here, while it may hurt the mentality a little bit of the team, you get back in there the next day and you kind of wash it away. Is that the mentality of the team right now?
Well, we had a team meeting today, and we talked about things, and we know everybody knows our non-conference schedule is tough, and that's what it's built for. Is we get these kinks worked out, and we get in the conference season, we do better. It's I'd much rather this happen week 1 against Robinson at their place. I'd much rather happen then than say week 4 against Christian.
Right.
And so all this stuff's making us more resilient, more tough, and we're going to learn from these mistakes, and we want to keep growing.
All right, Coach. Well, we're going to wrap things up for this segment and take a break. When we get back, we're going to be joined by our offensive and defensive players of the game, and I'll announce our Brooke Brolo Agency All-State Good Hands Catch of the Game. Hornets lead this. Looking right by himself in the backfield. Throws over the middle. Got a man on the slant. He dropped it. Picked off. That ball is picked off. Yes, sir. Picked off at the 20 yards. This one on the ground. Ball's loose. And going to be picked up by the Hornets. And that's Mosby trying to drag people down to the 10 and 9-yard line. Makes it to the right side. Throwing up. Back to the corner. Got it. Touchdown, Roderick Watts. Roderick Watts, the best receiver in 5A, does it to the left. Got Speck. Speck makes the catch. Makes a nice cut at the 44 across midfield. Cutting back in, and now is that a late penalty I saw? Need to go. Maybe. Stevens building. Block that one. So, Pierce hands this one to Waits. Waits. Big hole! Oh, and a late flag as this one's going to come back. It's going to be a hold as Waits cuts back. What a move by Waits to the 10. Pushed out of bounds at the 5. And
that's a bunch of Malara.
Williams, the motion man, hands it up the middle. Left side, touchdown Hornets. Crawford just drives himself into the end zone. And boy, that was Cleveland still in at quarterback here. Robinson, Cleveland, hands it to the right. Boy, the Hornets are in the backfield. Guess who?
Is on the scene.
Guess who? Pump fake, throws this one to Starks. You got to play in the backfield. They do. McClure brings him down in the backfield. Great this one through. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kick is up, and it is good. And the Hornets lead 44-41. All right, welcome back to Hornets Live from American Pie Pizza, presented by Natural State Sports. And I want to take the time to mention the official sponsor of the Maumelle Hornets, Dio Vanucci and Cornerstone Home Lending. In this real estate market, it's imperative you work with the best lenders to ensure you are in the best possible position when making an offer. Dio and his team will ensure you have a great experience from kickoff to the closing table. Text Dio to 36260 and get your home search kicked off today. All right, so joining me now are our offensive and defensive players of the game. QB1 Weston Pierce and linebacker James Whitley. James, I'm going to start things off with you. Number one, congrats on a great game, 12 tackles, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Great game.
Thank you.
So coming into this season, we've had you heard us talking to Coach, and we knew this defense would be a strength. We kind of knew what, at least I did, coming back, and kind of knew a little bit of what you had on the defensive line, a little bit of what was going on the back end. But linebackers weren't a position that we were overly aware of. And just talk about playing, number one, talk about playing the linebacker position, but number two, playing with so many talented defenders.
Linebacker, obviously getting played behind all my great defensive line. They open up gaps and open up holes for me to fill hard. And linebacker, I just like it. I get to run the defense, basically, get to shout out the plays, shout out the blitzes or coverages and stuff like that. And, man, that defensive line is amazing.
So it's almost as good as being a quarterback just on the other side of the ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't get to touch the ball every time. But you're the quarterback of that defense.
Yeah, basically. The whole defense plays a part, but I like
Absolutely.
to say it. I do a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be fun. And like you said, you've got guys up front that are big, strong, powerful guys there in front of you that kind of make it maybe a little easier as a linebacker.
Yeah, basically, especially them being 6'5", 270 on outside, and then you have CJ that's quick and strong as well, being able to clog up the middle. You just have free lanes the whole time.
I think CJ, we'll talk about that a little. CJ's a guy that's been pretty an unsung, underappreciated guy as well, considering the other talent that's on that line. But I think we seem to call 8's number pretty much multiple times a game all night long on Friday nights.
Yeah, CJ's my man.
So I don't think people really realize just how difficult of a position linebacker is. What's your favorite part about playing linebacker?
Being able to hit.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I like hitting.
Good. Well, I think that's what anytime we have a defender come up here, if we have a defender that doesn't say they like to hit, I don't know that you deserve the pizza you're eating there.
Yeah, I like to hit a lot.
Good. So if you weren't playing football, what else would we find James Whitley out doing?
Yeah, for sure not basketball.
I think there's a story here.
I mean, I'm on the track and field team. I do
Okay.
shot put and disc, so that's probably where you'll find me.
So outside of sports, nothing else?
I don't know. Football surrounds my life right now, so.
Okay. Fair enough. So I'm going to ask the boring adult question. What's the plans after high school?
College, see where football takes me. If not, trying to go into sports medicine field and see where that takes me to.
Now, do we have any options currently right now after high school that we're looking at?
No, sir.
Okay, we got to change that. Make sure we keep that in mind after some of this film we're getting. So we got to change that and get that out. It's also, we ought to be able to have a few scouts here. We got enough talent on the defense. I think we got enough college folks here. I ought to be able to pick it up.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully we can change that and get you guys some more exposure and just make sure that you get an opportunity at the next level.
Yes, sir.
So talk about that Robinson game just a little bit more before we move on to Weston. But obviously kind of a tale of three quarters and then another. So talk about how, the first part of that game and then how difficult it was at the finish there.
The first part of the game, obviously coming out, it's the first part of the game. And we weren't bad, but we obviously could have done better, as you could tell from in the booth. But we started picking up momentum, going on, and started getting 3 and out, started causing turnovers. And then at the end of the game, we just got relaxed. I guess that's the word you can use. We got relaxed. All of a sudden, that other quarterback came in, started throwing the ball some, and the whole defense could have done better. I mean, we got too relaxed and then let them start running the field. They got a 92-yard drive to tie the game, so that's not acceptable.
Well, it's good to learn those experiences early in the year, those lessons early in the season. So I think obviously Coach and everybody will have you guys ready to go week after week, and so we'll put this one behind us and move on. So tough finish, obviously, but a lot of season left to play, and really the goals that are ahead of you guys are still there. So we're ready to keep rolling. All right, so congrats to our defensive player of the game. Now let's meet our offensive player of the game, Mr. QB1, Weston Pierce.
Yep.
Weston, how are you tonight, man?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing well. So tough loss against Robinson, but a solid game, 10 or 12 out of 22 for 273, 5 total touchdowns. What was working against Robinson?
The deep ball to Rod, evidently. But we got a lot of picking on their corners a lot, doing a lot of I lost the word now, but we do a lot of outs and then a wheel route to go with it. Just kept confusing the corners, the D-backs up, and we had a lot more stuff open that I should have hit looking at film now, but it was just picking on the corners a lot was working for us.
Talk about your accuracy, because and maybe I'm saying this too early, but do you feel like that's one of your best attributes as a quarterback?
Well, I'm not the best runner, so I gotta be good at something. So I would say accuracy is probably my best thing, especially downfield ball. The downfield ball is my best accuracy.
What's your favorite pass to throw?
I like the 50-50 jump balls. Those are always fun, especially when the guy pulls it down. But like I did the 71-yard post up there, that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Especially when he keeps going and scores a touchdown. So.
Well, when we talk about the 50-50 jump ball, I think the first score of the game was almost a 50-50 jump ball. Made your way out of the pocket, found a little opening, and then put it up between two guys, and Rod was there to bring it down.
Yes, sir.
So got to be a lot of fun to go with a guy like Rod who can go up, and you got to feel like he can kind of catch just anything you put in his area.
Yeah, he's trustworthy.
Yes. So, obviously, Roderick Watts, we're talking about an easy pick as a favorite target, but I want to talk about the rest of the receiving corps because there's some really good guys out there. Coaches and I we talked about Hunter Speck. There's also Amari Rogers, a guy that hasn't been used a lot, but obviously has a lot of potential in this offense going forward. And, of course, Des Williams. So, some really good talent at wide receiver. Talk about those guys.
We'll start off with Hunter. Hunter's a very trustworthy guy. He runs his routes pretty good. He has a 42-inch vertical. So he's 5'10", has a 42-inch vertical, so I like to hit him on the fade ball sometimes. And Dez, he just got an injury. He's probably him and Rod were neck to neck in the offseason. They were really doing really good in summer ball. And Amari, it's always fun to hit a 6'4", 220 guy in the middle of the field and see what he can do with the ball. But hopefully we'll start getting Amari the ball more as the season goes on.
So we know that those wide receivers, they can have a little bit of a diva side. Right, every now and again. So how do you keep Rod in check every day?
Well, Rod, he's pretty much all around just good. He hard work. He keeps me in line for the most part. And, I mean, he's probably the most humble guy I know. He always makes sure to give everyone else the credit and not himself. So he's pretty good to head on. So
as a quarterback, you almost have to be a natural leader. I mean, you're the guy with the ball. You're the guy barking out everything. After a tough loss like Friday's, what's your message to the team as we get ready for Vilonia?
I texted the guys on Saturday, I can't remember what it is, but I told them let's get past this. Let's execute better next week and get past the Robinson game and get ready to beat Vilonia this Friday.
A good quarterback is going to be on the other side of the line of scrimmage from you over there with Austin Myers. What are you looking forward to in that matchup?
I mean, whatever comes, I guess. Hopefully I outdo him, I assume. But I know our defense is going to hold him down and give him some tough time for that game.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to let you guys enjoy the pizza. It's kind of hard to eat it and talk at the same time. I want to say thanks to the folks at American Pie Pizza for having us here tonight, and thanks for these pizzas. We got pepperoni, bacon, and sausage, right? Yes, that's right, and then all pepperoni over here for James. So, again, appreciate you guys joining us. But before we let you go, it is time to award our All-State Good Hands Catch of the Game presented by Brooke Brolo. And we just happen to have our award winner here, and we actually have the stuff from Brooke, and that is going to be James Whitley with your interception catch. And you can look right over there and see that as our All-State Good Hands Catch of the Game. So have you ever? Is that maybe one of the first times you've actually had to use your tip drill in a game?
Yes, very much so.
Oh, hang on. There we go. Now you're back.
Very much so. I'm not even going to lie. You could see in the film, I saw the seam route, and I was going for him. All of a sudden, I see a guy wide open in the middle of the field, and I was just going in for the tackle, and all of a sudden, I just see it bob it up to me. I was like, I might as well catch it. It was just right there. So I got it, and it's first interception of the season.
Well, reach over that chair right behind you, and there is it's a cooler / it's that big black. There you go. So that is from the Brooke Brolo Agency. It is a cooler and a speaker. So
nice.
Kind of neat. So enjoy that. I want to say thanks again to the Brooke Brolo Agency for sponsoring our All-State Good Hands Catch of the Game. And when we get back, we're going to talk about this week's matchup against Vilonia with Coach Horton.
My name is Brandon Aker. I'm the owner and pharmacist here at Aker Family Pharmacy in Maumelle. So here in our pharmacy, we like to focus on a hyper-personalized relationship with our patients, and that continues into our service sets. So we offer free delivery, curbside vaccinations, as well as custom compounded medications, including extended hours as well. I think you don't know the level of intimacy that you're going to get with your patients until you really get in it, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
All right, welcome back, Hornets fans, to Hornets Live from American Pie Pizza, and I really hope you guys have gotten your Pizookie orders in, and if you haven't, go ahead and order one for me. And then head on over to 9709 Maumelle Boulevard or head to www.americanpiepizza.net and get yours. All right, Coach, we had an opportunity to talk to the players. We've talked about Robinson. Now we're done with it. Now we're officially done with it. I know you guys were done with it, but now we're officially done with it. We're not going to talk about it anymore. On the road to Vilonia, that's a theme, the road, a game that has become a little bit of a rivalry, maybe more from their end than ours. And last year, Vilonia had a chance late to tie the game, and instead we had a nice pick six there that the defense had to seal that one. You think we can probably expect another close-fought battle in this one?
Well, our seniors have gotten a lot of attention. It's a talented group, and so are theirs. Rightfully so. They've got a heck of a quarterback and just a real solid group of seniors. They were in the game till the very end last year. We respect them. They're coached well, and they've got a lot of talent as well. So, our non-conference, there's no day off. This is a good team too, and we've got a sour taste in our mouth from last week. We want to make that right. So, it's the best way to do that is go out Friday and do what we need to do.
Yeah, we've talked about the message to the team this week and coming off of that first loss. Vilonia coming in, riding high, 56-17 win over a Greene County Tech. What's your thoughts a little bit and delve a little bit more into this matchup?
Their quarterback's really good. they've got a good receiving core. They've got a good offensive line. It'll be a test for our defense for sure. And then last year they really shut our offense down. I mean, our offense only scored 2 touchdowns last year. I mean, that's a good day at the office for their defense, and so, we want to make that right too. We want to go out and execute and want to, do our thing and, get better. We got better between week 0 and week 1. We want to continue that trend. We want to execute well. We don't want to have any negative plays. We don't have any missed assignments. That's what off seasons or what non-conference is about.
So obviously you're not going to really have any differences to prepare for here. You're going to get Austin Myers. You're probably going to get him for 4 quarters, barring something unfortunate happening. What is your defense going to have to do this week to defend a little better against the pass than we did last week?
Well, I think we're going to have to mix up things. We're going to have to get some pressure, and we're definitely going to have to cover the intermediate levels better. We can't put everything on our secondary. So our linebacking core is going to have to get involved in the pass game. Our defensive line is going to have to be able to block read better because, I believe Vilonia is going to be a good team to mix it up and to screen, quick game well. They're also going to be able to run the ball well. So, we're going to have to be able to read blocks, and we're going to have to be able to execute and be where we're supposed to be, every single play.
I've watched a few clips from their game against Greene County Tech, and one thing that sticks out is I think that they don't really have the same size as far as in the trenches between their offensive line and our defensive line. We've got some guys that should be pretty quick, should be able to handle them. Do you think that's going to be a little bit? Is that where the difference is going to be? You think in the defensive line and being able to get that pressure?
Well, size is nice, length is nice on defense, but at the end of the day, you still have a job to do and you still have to execute it. Which I'd say, for 3 quarters last week we had. We handled our jobs pretty well, and we played as expected defensively. But then 4th quarter came, and we did some uncharacteristic things defensively. And so we'd really like to, pick that back up and play a complete game defensively and, get back to where we know we can play.
So the 5A conference, very talented conference. Obviously, you know what you have in the 5A Central, as we've got PA and Little Rock Christian, ourselves, and amongst others there in the Central. And then we look at what's going on across the 5A. This game could go a little bit in the way of determining some of the hierarchy of the conference. What's the message to the team to ensure they wash away last week and keep focused on this big matchup ahead?
Well, last week's over. I mean, the blame game stuff doesn't work at all. We all had a piece of that. But it's over with. If we'd have won, we'd be 2-0, but it'd still be a non-conference game that doesn't matter in seeding and stuff like that. And so I think we learned more about it by losing, because a lot of times, you get in those situations, you survive somehow, you think, oh, well, we can turn it back on and get it done. Well, we had to eat that. We had to live with that all weekend, and we got to live with it this week. And the only way we can correct that is, to get back on the horse and, get back in the win column.
I keep waiting. It's a good thing I don't have crab legs here. I was waiting on you to pull the Jameis Winston there. Just eat it, like you did. No, you're not going to do that.
I pay for my wings and crab legs.
Oh, man. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time tonight. And along with our players of the game, Weston Pearson, James Whitley. I think I said that wrong on the broadcast the other night as well. And we're going to wrap things up tonight here at Hornets Live from American Pie Pizza. And but before I do, I want to challenge all the Hornet fans. We got a nice group of folks here tonight, and again, back on the road. But Vilonia is a short drive. I know it's a town that we may not know the name of, but it's just up the street. It's not a very long drive. So let's pack that stadium and make it as close to a Maumelle home game as we can. And if you can't find a way to be there, then join us for the broadcast starting at 6:30 on Friday night. And I want to give a big thanks to American Pie Pizza for hosting us tonight. Be sure to come by and see them this week, as well as our other sponsors, Cornerstone Home Lending, Akel's Wholesale, Acre Pharmacy, PI Roofing, the Brooke Brolo Agency, and McClarty Nissan. For Natural State Sports, I'm Steve Henson, and this has been Hornets Live. We'll see y'all Friday night. Go Hornets.